What do you do when your job takes over your life? I've been at this company for 3 years now, and at first, I loved it. But as time went on, my boss started giving me more and more tasks with tighter deadlines. Eventually, it became clear that no matter how much I worked during the week, there was always more to do, so much that my weekends were completely gone. One Friday, after pulling an all-nighter to finish a project, my boss came into my office and asked, "You're working this weekend, right?" My heart sank. I was already burned out, and he just expected me to keep going without any break. When I asked if I could have the weekend off to recharge, he said, "We're a team, and teams don't take breaks." I ended up breaking down later that week and finally spoke to HR about it. Turns out, I wasn't the only one facing this pressure. After several complaints from other team members, they had a meeting with management. My boss was forced to reevaluate the work-life balance and set more realistic expectations. I learned that sometimes you need to stand up for yourself, even when it feels uncomfortable. I was fired after reporting harassment from my manager. I thought speaking up about harassment would get me support. Instead, it got me fired. I had always felt like my manager was crossing boundaries, making inappropriate comments, and getting too personal with me. He'd say things like, "You're way too pretty to be working in this office," or, "I think we should go out sometime, just the two of us." At first, I brushed it off, thinking it was just harmless flirtation, but over time, it became harder to ignore. One day, he grabbed my shoulder while I was working, and that was the tipping point. I reported him to HR, hoping they'd do something about it. However, the next week, I was called into the office for a performance review. They said I wasn't meeting expectations and ended up firing me on the spot. The real kicker? I later found out that HR had done nothing about the manager's behavior. I've been job hunting ever since. But I learned a hard lesson about how toxic workplaces often protect the wrong people. My coworker stole my idea and got all the credit. I worked hard on an idea for months, but my coworker took it, presented it to the boss, and got all the credit. Here's how I handled it. I've been working as a junior marketing assistant for over a year, and I've always tried to bring fresh ideas to the table. A few months ago, I came up with an innovative concept for a new campaign that I thought could really boost our brand. I spent hours working on the proposal, gathering data, and creating the presentation. When I finally pitched it to my boss, my coworker, who was in the room, stayed silent the whole time. A week later, she came into the office, presented my exact idea to the boss, and received all the praise for it. I was furious. I tried to confront her, but she acted like nothing happened. I sent an email to my manager, explaining what had happened, and CC'd the entire team. I didn't want to make it a confrontation, but I wanted the truth out there. Have you ever faced a toxic work environment that pushed you past your limits? Share your experiences in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more crazy workplace stories about dealing with toxic bosses and unhealthy work cultures.